Okay, so far you have been learning how to add two really big numbers. And you do that by using a method called long addition. So you put the numbers into Mrs. Tan and Mr. O's house. So Mrs. Tan is always the first number. So 3 and 5 is in Mrs. Tan's house. And Mr. O is the second number, which is 6 and 4. Alright? But this method actually has a problem. And the problem lies with Mr. O. Mr. O, the grumpy man. Okay, so let's see what the problem is. So, I'm going to put the numbers into Mrs. Tan and Mr. O's house. So, 3 comes to Mrs. Tan, 6 comes to Mr. O, 5 comes to Mrs. Tan, 4 comes to Mr. O. Okay, I'm going to plus them together. Now, let's do it. 6 plus 4 equals to 10. Now, this is where the problem is. Mr. O, he's a very selfish man. He does not let any numbers that has 2 digits in. He only wants to let numbers that's 1 digit. So, what are numbers with 1 digit? So, 0 is 1 digit, 1 digit, 2, 1 digit, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All these are 1 digit. Okay, but 6 plus 4 is 10. 10 is 2 digits. Can you see 1, 2? 11 is also 2 digit. 12 is also 2 digit. 13 is also 2 digit. 14 is also 2 digit. 15 is also 2 digit. 16 is also 2 digit. 17 is also 2 digit. 18 is also 2 digit. 19 is also 2 digit. So all this number Mr. O will not let into his house. Only numbers with 1 digit. So 6 plus 4 is 10. How? So Mr. O will only allow the second number in his house. The first number, which is 1, he will give it to Mrs. Tan. Okay, so he will set 0. Okay, 10, right? 0. But 1, he'll give it to Mrs. Tan. And thankfully, Mrs. Tan is a very nice woman. She welcomes everybody. So now Mrs. Tan has one more person in her house. Okay, so let's count how many people are there in Mrs. Tan's house. 1 plus 3 equals to 4. 4 plus 5 equals to 9. So the answer is 90. Alright, okay, so let's look at our practices. Okay, this is practice 4. Let's do the first question. 23 plus 17 equals to what? So let's go. Mr. Tan, Mrs. Tan, and Mr. O. 2, 3, 1, 7. Let's plus them together. 3 plus 7 equals to 10. 10 is 2-digit number. 10, 2-digit number. So Mr. O will only accept 0 and he will give the 1 to Mrs. Tan. So now Mrs. Tan has how many people? 1 plus 2 equals to 3. 3 plus 1 equals to 4. So the answer is 40. Alright, okay, let's do another example. Okay, this one, 55 plus 38. Sorry, not 55, 45 plus 38. So Mrs. Tan, Mr. O, 4, 5, 3, 8. And we plus them together. 5 plus 8 equals to 13. 13. So Mr. O is not going to let 13 in. He will only accept 3. Okay, and he'll give 1 to Mrs. Tan. So now Mrs. Tan has how many? 1 plus 4 equals to 5. 5 plus 3 equals to 8. So the answer is 83. Okay. Alright. Okay, let's do this one. Mrs. Tan, Mr. O, 5, 6, 1, 9. Okay, we add it together. 6 plus 9 is 15. Now, Mr. O will only accept 5, but this 1 over here that makes 15, he'll give it to Mrs. Tan. So Mrs. Tan now has 1 plus 5 is 6. 6 plus 1 more is 7. So the answer is 75. Alright, okay, let's do this one. 18 plus 86, Mrs. Tan, Mr. O, 18 plus 86. Okay, so 8 plus 6 equals to 14. So Mr. O will only accept 4, but 14, the 1 of the 14, he'll give it to Mrs. Tan. So Mrs. Tan now has 1 plus 1, 2. 2 plus 8, 10. Oh, 10. Mrs. Tan has 10. Now, does Mrs. Tan accept 10? Yes, Mrs. Tan accepts numbers with 2 digits. So you just write 10. Alright, so the answer is 104. Wow, you can add such big numbers. 104. Okay, let's do this question. Okay, 79. Okay, Mrs. Tan and Mr. O, 79 plus 15. Going to add it together. 9 plus 5 equals to 14. So this one over here, Mr. O is not going to accept. We're going to give it to Mrs. Tan. 1 plus 7 is 8. 8 plus 1 is 9. So the answer is 94. Okay, let's do one more. 81 plus 19. So Mrs. Tan, Mr. O, 81 plus 19. Plus them together. 1 plus 9 is 0. 1 plus 9 is 10. Okay, so Mr. O only accepts 0. This 1 over here will give it to Mrs. Tan. 1 plus 8 is 9. 9 plus 1 is 10. So Mrs. Tan accepts 10. And the answer is 100. Wow. Okay, so you can do this yourself. The rest of the questions are the same. Okay, let me just do one last question over here. 9 plus 59. Mrs. Tan, Mr. O. So, Mr. O is 9. Okay, Mr. Tan is 59. 5 and Mr. O is 9. So, I plus them together. 9 plus 9 equals to 18. But Mr. O is only going to accept 8. And this 1 over here, he'll give it to Mrs. Tan. So, now Mrs. Tan has 1 plus 5, 6. So, the answer is 68. Alright, okay.